Hello, you're watching Esther from Stampin Style Creations. I can be found at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope and Blogger. Today I'm going to be recreating this card for you here. Pretty flowers with some vellum, and that's with some embossing on it, and using the Birthday Blossoms stamp set from Stampin' Up and a few other things which I'll tell you about as we go along. We're going to stamp on our piece of card first using mint macaron and the stamp with the lots of flowers on them. Using my D-size block, and we're going to ink up that stamp. I'm going to stamp off first so it's not such a strong image. So stamping onto some scrap paper and then onto our card. And we're just layering them up in the left hand side. So stamping off again. Like that. Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry for a moment. Let's move this out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in our vellum. Now vellum is like tracing paper, but the one that Stampin' Up does is a nice thick vellum. It could be stamped on, it could be heat embossed. It's great for layering over things, and also, as you can see, for cutting out as well. And they could be used with punches and scissors. So it's a nice thick cardstock or vellum. Now we're going to bring in our flower from the set, and we're going to be doing some dry embossing. Sorry, not dry embossing, but embossing with powder. This is called an embossing buddy. It's like a little sack with powder in it, and this helps to take away any static or any dust or any fingerprints from any work that any project that you're working on. So we just rub this across the piece of project that you're working on, and it takes away any static. And I'm going to do it on the card as well, because we're going to be doing some embossing on there too. The best thing to use for embossing, I find, is the Versamark ink, and this is just a clear ink. Now mine is ages old and it's got very mucky with lots of powder and bits stuck to it, but it's still juicy and great to use. It's nice and, as I say, it's nice and juicy, so it just helps when you're stamping things for the powder to stick to the image. Okay, I'm going to go in and stamp once, twice. Make sure you leave a bit of a gap in between your images, because you're going to use the punch to punch these out after we've embossed them. Okay, going in with a piece of scrap paper underneath. Shake your white embossing powder all over, a bit like glitter, and that sticks to the image. I'm just going to get my heat gun and we can start heating this up. Trying carefully not to knock the image, because we don't want the powder to come off. Okay, you do need a specialised heat tool for this. Hair dryers and toasters won't really work. So if you haven't seen this before, it looks like magic. What it does, the heat melts the powder. I'll just show you. And it changes from powder. It makes it nice and thick. There we are. Okay, I'm just going to do the other two and I'll come back to you. If you get your pansy punch, this matches the flower set. Slop your paper through, find the right place, press down and simply punch the flowers out. I'll just show you again with this last one. Simple as that. Okay, next we're going to work on the leaves, and when they're ready I'll come back to you again. Right, I just fussy cut around the leaves. I was running out of vellum, so there's a bit cut off there, but hopefully you won't notice when we actually go to stick the card down. For the next bit we're going to be using our blender pen. We're going to use Watermelon Wonder for the main part of the flowers. We're going in again with our mint macaron, and for the centres we're using Daffodil Delight. When you get your ink pads, if you just squeeze on the lid, it leaves the impression on the lid, and that's the part that we're going to use of the stamp set. So we're going to pick up a bit of colour from the Watermelon Wonder. I don't want it to be too bright, I just want nice subtle flowers. So just pick up the colour and gently colour in part of the flower. It's a nice quick and easy process. It picks up the colour and blends it in to whatever you're colouring in. It holds the colour onto the pen, so you don't need a lot. Just picking up a tiny bit of colour there. Okay, so if you finish with one colour, just colour on a scrap piece of paper, then you can go in and pick up another colour. I'm just going to pick up the yellow now to do the centre of the flowers. And just put a bit of colour on the rest of the flower. And using the mint macaron with the green. To create the speckled effect on the card, the white specks, I've heat embossed using the gorgeous grunge speckles. And then for the sentiment, I'm going to be using Have a Beautiful Birthday from the stamp set. Just bring my card back in. Now again, just to keep the subtle look, I'm going to stamp off once with the Watermelon Wonder. Make sure it's the right way up. And then stamping onto the card. Okay, now we're just going to layer up those flowers, but before I do, I'm just going to get a sponge and we're going to ink around the edges, and we're going to use our mint macaron. So Stampin' Up! Sells sponges, big circle sponges, which you can just cut down and use for different colours. So dab that into your ink, and going in circle motion, starting off the page, and then slowly rubbing onto the page. You can always build up the colour and keep adding as you go along, but this just helps to avoid streaks. It gives it a nice subtle colour. You can then use the clean edge of your sponge just to go over the bit that you've embossed in case it's picked up on any of the ink, and the same with the vellum. Just brush over it so your embossing comes through again. And you can simply just shape your flowers. It's very pliable. So just give them a bend and you can lift them up a bit. Then we can go in with our Tombow glue and get sticking. Place these on. where you want them. Okay, and I'll just show you the end result. And there's our vellum flower card, all stuck down and ready to go. If you're interested in any of the products you've seen, or if you're in the UK and would like your free copy of the Stampin' Up catalogue, I'll happily send one in the post if you can leave me a message or get in touch with me. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.